Anyone who's been watching the channel for a long time will recognise my beloved 1973 Dictaphone Ultravox in all of its Orangy Goodness. I'll put a link to that video down in the description. Anyway, at the time I made that video, I got hold of another dictaphone, also full of Orangy Goodness, in the form of this pocket-sized Dictaphone 10, which was made in Switzerland around the same time. Unlike the Ultravox, which uses a flat sound sheet or recording sheet, the Dictaphone 10 uses a Minicassette located behind the sliding front cover, which just lifts out from the rear edge. Not to be confused with a Microcassette, which is slightly smaller and has 3 holes at the front edge, whereas the Minicassette has 2 holes at the rear edge. Putting the cassette back in is just a case of inserting the front edge and then pressing the back edge down over the 2 metal posts, and that's job done. Sliding the cover all the way off reveals the battery, a single 9V PP3. The loudspeaker is here, and it also doubles up as the microphone, which is pretty standard on dictation machines. Anyway, I'll quickly open up the case so we can have a little look inside, and then we'll try it out. It's fairly jammed full of components in here. The motor is this rectangular box with a belt drive to the idler pulley. When in the stop position, the spindle from the idler pulley rests against the rubber edge of the right-hand spool wheel. Putting it into play presses the spindle against the wheel, creating a friction drive. There's no capstan and pinch roller on the Minicassettes, so the linear tape speed will change as the tape is wound onto the take-up spool. Fine for speech, but not so good for music. If I put the recorder into the rewind position, the idler pulley is moved away from the right-hand spool, engaging a bevel gear onto the left-hand spool, which drives the tape backwards at a higher speed than normal playback. The play rewind also operates these fairly crude electrical contacts. Putting the unit into the play position bends the contact over to the right, and the spring here presses the idler pulley spindle into the spool wheel. Back to the stop position and the contact returns to its rest position, and into rewind bends the contact to the left, breaking this additional connection between the 2 left-hand contacts, presumably to cut power to the amplifier. There's a motor speed potentiometer down through this hole. When I first tried the machine, one side of a cassette lasted 7 minutes, whereas that should be 15 minutes. Just touching the pot returned the unit to the correct speed. That would have just been dirty contacts from years of doing nothing. There are a couple of sockets up here. These are used for a remote microphone, which we'll take a look at later on. Other than oiling the motor bearings and fixing the motor speed, I haven't had to do anything to this unit, so I'll pop it back together and then we can try it out. The controls are pretty simple. Push the top switch upwards for play, and back to the middle for stop, and pull downwards for rewind. Pushing the lower switch upwards engages record, and as soon as you move the top switch to play, it starts recording. Once you've finished recording and moved the top switch to stop, you'll need to disengage the record switch, unless you rewind the tape, at which point the record switch is physically pushed backwards, making sure you don't accidentally record over whatever you've just recorded. Engaging the record switch also rotates a permanent magnet into the path of the tape, ahead of the record head. This erases any old audio before the new recording is made. And there's a playback volume control just below the record switch. Anyway, that's enough waffle. What does it sound like? I'll just push the record switch upwards, followed by the play switch. You'll need to be fairly close to the microphone as there's no adjustment for sensitivity, so it's either a blank screen or you'll have to put up with me in frame for a few seconds. Anyway, time to rewind. And press play to see what we've got.
You'll need to be fairly close to the microphone as there's no adjustment for sensitivity, so it's either a blank screen or you'll have to put up with me in frame for a few seconds. Anyway, time to rewind.
It's not brilliant quality, but it's plenty good enough for dictation and general voice recording. I'll just rewind that last bit and then we can try again, this time using the remote microphone. I'll just get the microphone plugged in. And now I can preset the recorder into record and play, but nothing will happen until I move the switch on the microphone to the on position. There was also a telephone pickup available as an accessory, so you could record telephone conversations, but I don't think that came as standard, and I've never seen an original Dictaphone branded one anywhere. Okay, that should do for that bit of recording. So I'll just remove the microphone and rewind the tape to see how that compares. And press play.
There was also a telephone pickup available as an accessory, so you could record telephone conversations, but I don't think that came as standard, and I've never seen an original Dictaphone branded one anywhere. Okay.
Well, there's slightly less motor noise using the remote microphone, and it does give you a little more versatility in microphone positioning, but there's no great increase in audio quality. Anyway, next, as is always the case, it's time to give the Dictaphone a quick try recording some music. It's going to be pretty bad, so I won't spend too long on this. I've got an audio player set up and the Dictaphone microphone positioned. So, turn the Dictaphone on to record and press play. Okay, that should do. I'm going to give it the best chance possible and plug the output from the Dictaphone directly into my audio recorder, so we bypass the small loudspeaker. So, here goes. Okay, that's pretty painful, so I think I'll stop it there. But in all fairness, it was never intended to be a music recorder, and the machine is about 50 years old, so I think we can let it off. I think the Dictaphone 10 is a really great looking unit, and I could imagine a modern retro looking equivalent with higher quality and a few more features being quite a hit. There was also a grey model, which is okay, but the bold colours are the ones that attract my attention.
Anyway, I think that will do for this video. If you've enjoyed watching, please like the video and maybe even subscribe to the channel, not forgetting to click on the bell icon so you get notifications when future videos are released. That's it for now, so thanks for watching and I'll see you in a future video.